Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. And we have a young man here, Mr. Spears. It's elite conversation, and he's talking about business. Everybody wants to get in the business world. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Why you were in corporate world and you decided to say, hey, look, I want to get into the real money.
Yes, I definitely wanted to get into the real money.
That's what I tell people. I said 9 to 5 is antique. When I was coming along, the idea was that, get a college education, get a 9 to 5 job, work for the federal government, and work 40 years and retire. That's antique now.
Yes, sir.
You got to get in the business world. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And you are sprouting out. You're coming from the business world, the corporate world,
Yes, sir.
into your own business. Tell us, just how did you do that? And why?
Well, first of all, I definitely want to thank you for just having me on the show. I am honored to have you interviewing me, just to be in your presence. And I'm so thankful that you have sort of set the path for us. I do a lot in terms of interviewing myself, and I appreciate all you have done to make it possible for individuals like myself to go into business. So I want to say thank you for that. I decided to go into business just for that fact, just to get out of the 9 to 5 and to look for an opportunity where I can help society, help business owners to build themselves up, build wealth. You think about your family, you think about your loved ones, and it's all about leaving a legacy that your kids can carry on. They can't carry on my 9 to 5 job.
No.
Once that goes away.
Legacy and security.
And security.
And what's more secure than money?
Absolutely. You got to have money, wealth,
Right.
and a job, a business that I start is something that I can pass on to my
pass
kids
it on.
as a legacy.
Well, that's the way. If you look at this country, most of the people associated with wealth. 3% of the people control all the money.
Absolutely.
And most people, they say, hey, what are you talking about? I say, hey, I get the Wall Street Journal, I read all that, and I know people that's involved, like yourself, people that are involved in business. 3% of the people control all the money in this country.
That's amazing.
It's amazing, but it's true.
It is true.
And they're not going to let anyone spoil that particular item.
Absolutely.
They're not going to do it. I don't care who you are. The economy is it. And when you come, you can have all the degrees you want. I don't think the president-elect had a degree. I never hear him speak about college other than one college that went, but I'm just saying, he himself got involved with money.
Absolutely.
And that paid off.
And it's even more than money, because by having wealth, it gives you the opportunity so that your kids and those other generations coming behind you will have an opportunity to go out and make change.
Right.
Because you can't make change while you're struggling trying to work a 9 to 5 every day.
Working 9 to 5.
If I have wealth, then my kids can go abroad, they can study, they can go to Capitol Hill and lobby for different issues. And a lot of wealthy families, their kids can do that. They can go and lobby and understand how laws are changed and bills are made and all that good stuff. And we need to create an environment so that our kids can do the same thing, where they don't have to rush out of school and rush right into a job because they have $60,000 of debt. We want to be able to say, hey, you have an opportunity to go out and find your passion, go out and learn about what's happening in society, make changes, do the things that really are important to us as a society. And I think that's important. So money is good.
Yeah.
The wealth is good, but really creating a legacy for our kids and family is really important. That's one of the reasons I decided to move out of corporate America and
move out of
look for an
Very
opportunity to
few
create
people
wealth.
move out of corporate.
Yes.
Most of them move in.
Yeah.
They work for the federal government 10, 15 years, then they go to a big corporation. And then they look at it and they say, hey, look, if I had a business, I could have gotten that $1 million contract.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the people that the that the government is paying, they were former government workers
Exactly.
that decided, say, I'm doing this for the federal government. I get in the corporate world and I have all the apples.
Absolutely. You can make a decision, and you've made a lot of money for people for a
Yeah,
lot of
right,
years.
right.
And you can use that same philosophy and intellect and skills and resources for yourself as well. But it takes planning, it takes research, and really making sure that you are creating a business that's going to really help society grow as well. And I think that's what's happening with the millennials and the centennials. And those are the individuals that we're starting to pass everything off to. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. You know, they want to be a part of a cause, something that can help mankind be better. And I think that's one of the things we need to look at as entrepreneurs.
What do you think of this Christopher Graves, a young man with a sharp business
Yes.
from Drexel, University? I mean, and he didn't have any money to even go to school, and the history of it, and then he parlayed apps into $1.3 million.
Absolutely. I actually saw that episode with Shark Tank, and that's.
What do you think of that Shark Tank? You think that's, you know, Warren Buffett is behind that, so I mean, they got plenty of money behind that system.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for entrepreneurs, and it's a great opportunity to learn about business.
Yeah.
I look at it quite often. I mean, they really give you a lot of information of what it takes to build a company or put yourself in a position to go out and ask for money, not just from Shark Tanks, but you have capitalists out there that are willing to invest in your company if you have everything in order. So you can learn about, you know, your market share and what it costs to have a customer. And a lot of questions that the sharks ask are questions that we need to make sure that we can answer for our business, just like they answer for the sharks. And if we can do that, then we are in a good shape in terms of business.
And I was amazed at the amount of money and scholarships that go to waste. Wow. Because people do not know the system in applying for those school loans. And for the business, they don't just get involved in school loan, they're in business too. Entrepreneurs like yourself, you come out and you think about what is the future? Because young people now, they're looking at it, they say, hey, Pops, 9 to 5, that's antique. And they're right. 9 to 5 is antique. And then just like MGM is coming here in Prince George County.
Yes.
And Prince George County is supposed to get 25% of the employees. And I want to know, and people in Prince George County need to know, what percentage of that 25 is a CEO? And you know what CEO means on the CEO level, not sweeping the floors and making the beds in the hotels and all that. And who's responsible for this is your council. They need to talk about the councilman, tell the councilman, check in their district and see how many of those positions at MGM is going to be on the CEO level. Because that's training. We got a supermarket in Bowie here that I went over there to find out if, in fact, that they have a managerial program. People are spending their money. This is what you do. You're doing this for the future. For your youngster may be only 12, 13, or 14, but the idea is that you're preparing the system so that he'll have a good job, position. I always say, a job is, I don't want a job, I want a position.
Okay.
You see to me, because on CEO level, you make policy. And see, that's the way the young people have to think. How do you think that a young man coming out of school, since you've been in the corporate world and you know, watch your back, you know, that in the corporate world, that's one of the major things. They'll do their mama in for a quarter. It's crude, but it's true.
It's pretty challenging in the corporate world, but I think they're starting to be more open to millennials and centennials because we've moved into what we call the digital age.
Yes.
So, you know, you have the Gen X like myself and the baby boomers who are pre-digital age, but now you have the centennials and the millennials. They were born into that. They know
Right.
how to do this stuff with their eyes closed.
Right. And every time you look, they're coming up with an app. What is that for? I don't need another app.
Yeah, but you know what? We're getting to a place where that's what's going to run the economy. I mean, everything you need is in that phone. And
Right.
Application-based businesses are going to be very successful moving forward. And that's one of the things I had to learn coming out of the corporate world, going into a business. And my business, EliteConversations.com, that's one of the things we do is to help other businesses move and create their brand and message based on the digital age that we're in now. Because we're still locked into the old ways where billboards and
Right.
flyers and all that type of marketing is not viable anymore. You
No,
really have to
it's
be online.
not. And so, but getting that exposure, that's the problem. For instance, the different schools, they have to upgrade their curriculum to the point that they're, you know, the things that they used to do a certain way or teach a certain way, they have to change that based on the advances in electronics.
Exactly.
Advances in electronics takes you years above everybody else. You can't, you know, really gain anything if you're not involved in the electronic world.
Exactly. And a lot of that is on us as parents. We have to be more diligent in terms of, especially the public school system here
Now,
in Prince
what do
George's
you
County.
do about the education system? This is what people have to do. Here in Prince George's County, what did they do? They lost $6.4 million, the Head Start program, that program that had for 50 years here that was functioning. See, the citizens, they should put the council's feet to the fire.
Absolutely.
And the school board. That
Absolutely.
shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen.
Now, this day and time, you know, that shouldn't happen. And really, the people running for election, that you need to put their feet to the fire on education.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And the same thing on every level. Here, Congress, what do they go out for 2 months for vacation, barely pass the budget, and that type of thing. You know, I mean, you are the one, you're the ones that put these people in office. And the only way that they're going to function the way that you do, you stay on their, you know what.
Absolutely. And you have to be there. They have to see your face.
And you have to
It's
go
on
to the
every level.
meetings.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, oh, but they'll sit and watch a football game or something like that 2 and 3 hours. Don't want to go to a civic meeting. Don't want to go to a council meeting. Don't want to go to a Senate hearing. You know, ridiculous.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because all of that is going to eventually affect you. And people respond based on, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't bother me. It may not bother you now, but it will bother you later and in the future. You know, just like taxes. Okay, with senior citizens, you get more senior citizens out now than you ever had.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the senior citizen that sits at home and not go to the council meeting, not go to the hearings and things like that, and the tax, his retirement is not going up. Most of them are going down. So what happens every time they decide to spend some money on the council level, on the Senate, and the House level, it affects a whole lot of people. And what happens is that the seniors that had money to help their grandchildren to go to school and things of that nature, they're not able to do it.
That's true. And you know, that's something about, we talk about entrepreneurship, and I think that's one of the advantages that entrepreneurs have is that you have to get into a mindset where everything impacts what you do, and you have to make decisions based on just yourself. You know, when you're in a 9-to-5, you have departments, you have everybody sort of helping and making decisions on how things move forward. But as an entrepreneur, you're it. So you have to understand how everything works, and that drives us in terms of our where we live in our community, and making sure that everything that impacts our families, our kids, we should be involved in. You know, we should be in the school. We shouldn't have to wait until
something happens.
Something happens.
Yeah.
We should have known that, you know, 6 months or a year prior. And like you say, you're there, you're in the meetings, you're making change. When they're about ready to sign that action, it's too late.
Well, see now, Prince George's County has the most available land around the Beltway than any jurisdictions here. Okay, they have possibility of getting the FBI. They're going to get a new hospital in Largo. They get MGM. MGM is going to bring other businesses into the area. Okay, so what they have to do is that they have to attend the meetings, make sure that the people that they put in office are doing their job, because they're not going to do but so much unless you go to the meetings.
Absolutely.
See, you got to go to the meetings. Absolutely. That's what I stress. And the things that has happened in the past is because individuals took it for granted and didn't go out and vote. They're going to do what they want anyway. Or listen to Aunt Susie and Uncle John, you know, but Aunt Susie and Uncle John, they may not be here. You know what I mean, with a bill that's going to affect you. And you just mentioned, you know, talking about the past, and we really can't dwell on the past. What's been done has been done, and Prince George's County has some great opportunities coming up for entrepreneurs, those that are in government contracting. But so, people have to stay with it.
Yeah, and we need to share information. We need to come together and collaborate as business owners. We need to be in Chamber of Commerce and sharing information constantly. And that's the 3 pillars that Elite Conversation is built on, is helping business owners obtain knowledge, obtain resources, and to make those connections that really take them to the next level. And that's where we need to be in terms of operating as a business, because I can't do everything as a business, but if we're an alliance and you can provide something that my business use, why not come together, share resources so that we can create a product that's bigger?
Well, see, that's what a lot of people, they think in terms, and they get too independent. They say, well, I got to have X number of dollars to open this business, X number of dollars. But if they pool their money, for instance, like a good example is look how the banks have robbed the people repeatedly. They take your money, give you 3% on yours, and they take your money and make 18%.
That's right.
I like to have that business. I mean, you don't do nothing.
Right.
And it was one bank was actually training the employees how to give people accounts and give them charges that they didn't ask for.
And one of the reasons they can do that is because now they're doing what I just mentioned. We should be collaborating, but look at the banks, the airlines, all of them are merging, and now you come in with these 3 or 4 big, huge companies. So what they're doing is gobbling up their competition. So now they can make changes, whatever, without worrying about, you know, the competition affecting their pricing. So big business is doing it. They're collaborating and pulling their resources together to make themselves more efficient in the marketplace, and we as small business owners should be doing the same thing.
Well, I don't know, you know, the union used to have a lot of muscle, but now the unions are so politicalized now, you know what I mean, is that they are not putting the pressure on the corporation that they should be. A good example is occurring right now in North Dakota there with that pipeline, you know what I mean? Okay. Well, the oil boys, you know, the big boys with the strong arms, they're putting it on the Indians out there, you know. But the idea is that the Indians found out that, hey, going through the regular system is not working. And they wonder why there's so much protest. Well, that's a good example out there. And here they are the only natives. Everybody here in this country is an immigrant.
Absolutely.
Except the Indians.
Absolutely.
They're not an immigrant. They've been here. And they have to fight for economic clarity. You see what I mean? In other words, they're out there trying to just keep the oil boys, keep the oil boys from running over their land. And then what happened is that we found out that Indians on the reservation was utilizing the land for gambling.
Okay.
And they start putting rules and regulations to prevent that.
Wow. Yeah, and then again, if you don't have economic power, it's hard to really stop
And that's
that, you know?
that's what people. That's why I admire anyone in the business world, because in this country, the business world, it's the great poet said, Richard Wright. Richard Wright said, "You're not free unless you're economically free." He said they can make all the rules, because 4 years or 8 years later, another guy come along and he circumvent the rule that they made, you know, that they passed 4 years ago or 8 years ago. So the idea is that Richard Wright, the great poet, he said, "You're not free. No one is free unless they're economically free."
Exactly.
See?
Well, we know a great book that says the borrower is the servant to the lender.
Right. Well,
and you don't want to put yourself in that position.
And see, the youngsters, they have to realize that. That's why I was glad to hear you coming on along the lines of the business world, because this is what the young people need to do. Stop working for someone else. Start your own business. This and I've talked to the president of the community college. I've talked to her about that, and what she's happy, because the prices of regular college now is driving youngsters to community colleges.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean?
Good talent, bright talent to community colleges. That's good.
And this is what, that's why I was saying in your group that you actually started with the church. You were saying, okay, tell us about that.
Absolutely. A lot of my training and leadership and speaking, I am a deacon at the First Baptist Church of Glenarden with Pastor John K. Jenkins. And it's just been an outstanding opportunity for me, being there a little over 20 years. Yeah, just in that environment. And they are a church that focuses on doing everything with the spirit of excellence. So in every area, through our teaching, through leadership, through training, through our ministries,
and
outreach.
Their program for the youngsters is outstanding.
It is.
And
very
see,
good.
now a lot of churches are moving into programs, economic programs, to actually expose the youngsters to the business world. Because, like I said, 3% of the people in this country control most of the money.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, you look up and, like you said, the corporation, this corporation is gobbling up this one, and he jumps over here and he gobbles up that. And what happens? After he gobbles it up, then all he does is change the name of it, and actually the guy is still in business. Don't you recall when on your taxes you couldn't declare bankruptcy? It was illegal for the average person to declare bankruptcy. And the banks and all of them been doing it for centuries. But when they passed a ruling that allowed the small business owner to declare bankruptcy, they squashed it.
Yeah, it's definitely not as easy as it used to be, for sure.
Well, they had people fearful of declaring bankruptcy because it ruined my credit for years. These guys, they change corporations and change the name, change the building, and same people are there.
Come back a week later with a different name, huh?
Come back a week later. And this is the system. This is what the president-elect wants to do. He wants to bring that back, you know, where the corporations gobble up everything. And then what happens is that, hey, if I didn't pay taxes for 20 years, man, I have some money.
Absolutely.
Just think of that. The philosophy I'm thinking about. And then boast about the fact that it's legal. Yeah, it's illegal because people are putting people into the positions in the government that's changing the rules to their benefit.
Well, that's one of the things when you think about those that are wealthy, it's not necessarily because of all the money that they make, it's about all the money that they can keep.
You're right.
So they learn and they understand the
Right.
tax laws and
Right.
understand how
That's
to
it.
protect their money, and that's one of the critical pieces that we as entrepreneurs need to understand. How do we keep the money that we make? And that's how you create wealth. You're not going to create wealth just making money and letting the tax man take it from you. You create wealth by making money and figuring out the best way to keep it and learning. So,
right. So tell us advice you'd give from a young person that wants to go into the business world now.
start early. Focus on what your passion is. If there's something that just makes you angry, you know, my passion is good as that. If it's something that really bothers you, that's probably where your passion is, because you have a passion and the urge to fix it and to solve it. I suggest that they go out and start doing things and fail fast. You're going to fail. Every entrepreneur.
Well, that's what most young people don't understand. Failure.
That's part of
That's part of success.
That's part of success. Absolutely.
Most people that have been successful fail more times.
Absolutely.
Than they were successful. You know, they don't understand that. You know, that failure is a step towards elite. Is that elite conversation?
Elite conversation.
This is the. How did you come up with a name like elite conversation? Well, you weren't talking about football, right?
No, I wasn't talking about football. I thought, first of all, it was a great name. I thought it was a name that would draw people to the business, but it really doesn't focus on an elitist type approach. It focuses more on the message, is taking the message that you have for your business, making sure that that message is reaching who you want it to reach. We do video marketing for business owners, and one of the things we focus on is we teach a storyboard class before we even bring them into the studio, and we teach them how to identify their target. Understand, once you have a target, what are their pain points? What is your message about? And what are you trying to help others get past? Because it's really about, again, helping society, and your business should be making money and making life better.
I want to
for
thank you
someone.
for being here, Mr. Spears. And
Excellent.
Keep up the good work. And
Thank you.
Don't forget the youngsters. Bring them along, because,
Absolutely.
hey, in this world, you know, like I say, you got to be into the economics of the country if you're going to be counted.
Absolutely.
Okay. This
Thank
has
you so
been
much.
Ed Brown. See you next time.
Bye-bye.